Are you weak? Do you seek other people's approval? I'm Patrick Wanis. The reason I pose these two questions to you is to help you to get clear about who decides how you feel about yourself. First, let's look at approval. Approval, acceptance, validation. We are actually hardwired for connection. That means we're hardwired for relationships. So therefore, we do need some acceptance, some approval, and some validation. Without those three, we lose a sense of connection, we lose a sense of community, we feel like we no longer belong, and we feel like we're outsiders. In fact, that's the entire reason that people seek externally acceptance, approval, and validation, so they can feel good enough about themselves and feel that they belong to a community. However, if you constantly seek external validation, acceptance, or approval, you no longer have power. You've actually weakened yourself. If you show up and say, "I'm completely empty, please fill me up," with acceptance, approval, or validation, then you're saying to the other person, "You today will decide how I feel." Is that what you want? Do you want to be self-determining, or do you want other people to have control over you? Once you allow other people to determine how you feel about yourself, you no longer have power. So be aware of, what do you do through social media? Do you constantly upload photos and videos and posts and descriptions of where you are? Is that what you want? Do you constantly want to get the approval, acceptance, and validation of others? If you seek that, one of two things has happened. Either you didn't get it as a child and therefore you don't feel good enough or worthy subconsciously, and you're seeking other people to try to convince you otherwise, or you've become a victim of today's culture and society. And what I mean by that is the constant need and desire for the acceptance and approval and validation of others is like a disease. And so therefore what you're doing is you're exposing yourself for either public adulation, applause, praise, recognition, and approval, or you're exposing yourself for public shaming. In both situations, you've given away all your power, and you're saying everyone else is going to determine how I feel about myself, or whether or not I like myself, or whether or not I even accept or approve of myself. So be aware, what do you do on a regular basis? Are you actually authentic? Are you true to yourself? Because most of the times when people post things on Facebook and all forms of social media, they're twisting the truth. They're changing all the filters in the photography. They're checking into this restaurant or this place to say, look, I'm good enough, I'm worthy. Come on, tell me I'm good enough, tell me I'm worthy. But you're actually not being authentic. You're not being true to yourself. So the solution, number one, is get clear about who are you? What's important to you? Focus on your skills, your strengths, and your abilities. You don't need constant validation, acceptance, and approval from other people. You know if what you're doing is right or wrong. Now, if you look at yourself and you say, these are my strengths, these are the things I'm proud about, and these are the things that I'm not, these are the things I don't like about myself, then focus on changing those things. But what about the things you can't change? You are going to age. You are going to become slower. There's going to be some physical limitations. That's when you get to self-acceptance, self-approval, self-validation. See, inner peace comes from the healing of suffering. Suffering dissipates when you get to the place of acceptance. There are things that are beyond your control. Can you accept them? Can you accept that you're a human being? That yes, you're imperfect, you're flawed. You're not going to be like everyone else, nor do you want to be like everyone else. Nor do you need everyone else's approval, acceptance, or validation. Now, if you're struggling with that in your life and you need additional help, step number one, of course, is just stop engaging in the habit, because you become what you habitually do. So if you keep posting these things on Facebook seeking approval and acceptance, then that's what you're going to become. You're going to become a victim to that. Number two, look for help. Now, I have many clients that have come to me with this same issue, seeking approval, acceptance, and validation because they didn't get it as a child. They got one of three things. They either got positive validation, great, you're fine, or 2, they got constant criticism. That means they were invalidated. Or 3, they were ignored. They weren't talked to or they weren't noticed and they didn't get that feedback, that guidance, that validation, so therefore they're seeking it. So pause and think about your own situation. Did your parents give you honest feedback? Or was the only time you got attention was when they were criticizing you? So if you need help with that, go to my website, patrickwanis.com, and there you can book a session one-on-one with me.